Hello weathering fans, and welcome to our 14th Race for Terra Community Spotlight. In today's video you will have the chance to see 5 fantastic projects: a great and clean one, an X-Wing, a unit of Castellax battle automata, a squad of snow troopers, and a greater Blight drone. Would you like to know more? Jose, also known as Demencia, has been an active member of our Discord since September, but this is his first entry to the spotlight to date. I believe Jose has done this model justice, with a hybrid style which combines the high contrast, cartoony style typically associated with Warhammer, with weathering techniques that render elements like the metals completely realistic. In other words, it's both highly stylized and realistic. You have pastel-like colors in some areas, and lifelike rust in others. I don't know about you, but I really love this juxtaposition of styles. By the way, you might be wondering why I have been referring to this as one model. It looks like 3 different models, doesn't it? Well, the reason for that is that the kit comes with different options for both the head and the arms. Jose magnetized all of those, making them interchangeable. Pretty cool, huh? He explains that the greatest challenge in this project was the rust and the verdigris effects on the metals. Well, my friend, I think you knocked it out of the park in that regard. Also, applying texture to those areas was an excellent idea. It makes a big difference. Guys, I'm sure you will agree with me when I say that I'm very much looking forward to his next entry. A veteran of our community spotlight, this is Jan's 4th entry to date. The last one was a Soviet KV-1 tank, and before that he'd done 2 Horus Heresy vehicles. I think this gives you an idea of Jan's diverse range of interests and modeling skills. This X-Wing in particular was a commission though. Jan 3D printed and then painted this model for Ara, a German cosplayer and Star Wars fan, who has kindly provided us with the photographs today. The most important aspect of this build is probably the narrative behind it. Jan explains that he tried to portray the X-Wing of Tycho from the novel Back to War, imagining that the protagonist would have applied a paint job of his own over the standard one from Red Squadron. That's why he chose to apply chipping this way, so that you could see some of the original paint job underneath. Jan explains that the greatest challenge for him was applying 2 distinct paint jobs, one after another, whilst trying not to make the chipping too exaggerated. This was something new to him, but he was really pleased with the end result. Well, Jan, I think you should be. And since Ara is also a fan of the Rogue Squadron novels, I'm sure that this X-Wing is now in a place of honor. This is Lucas's 2nd entry in our community spotlight, after a spooky unit of Thalax back in March 2021. Almost a year later, here's another Mechanicum unit from him, which shows that he has perfected his formula for those signature Zana armor panels. And speaking of armor panels, the texture that Lucas has obtained in those is by far my favorite element in this project. He explains that he achieved this mostly through stippling. He tells us, and I quote, "Something about ramming a sponge with paint into a model repeatedly has a certain zen quality to it." Well, Lucas, zen or not, I think they look great. The most challenging aspect for Lucas was keeping faith in the weathering process, because of the fact that, when he started out, the models didn't look like much after the initial base coat. Therefore, he had just to visualize what he wanted to achieve in the end and let go of his misgivings. For those of us who tend towards perfectionism, and I think we're probably in the majority here, I think this is an important lesson to review from time to time. Now, Lucas, big robots are well and good, but how about a vehicle next? I'm looking forward to seeing where the dark side of painting takes you next. Andrew joined our Discord community in December, and this is his first Spotlight entry. However, as you can see from the finish on these very original troopers, he's by no means a beginner when it comes to painting models. And I say troopers loosely because most of you will recognize these are theoretically snow troopers, or shall we call them swamp troopers now? In any case, I must say I quite like this idea. Andrew's project revolves mostly around the basing, which is without a doubt my favorite element. He explains that the addition of the swamp bases completely transformed the unit, which he considered one of his weaker paint jobs. I think this is a really good reminder of the importance of basing, both on the tabletop for gaming purposes, and just in purely aesthetic terms. Andrew took his inspiration from the FAQ diorama book by AK Interactive, and has used a variety of enamels and pigments for these bases, as well as water effects for the liquid parts. Andrew explains that this was his third attempt at some bases, and the first one that he was really satisfied with. He plans on reproducing this on other units, and in particular would like to continue experimenting with splashes effects. Well, Andrew, like I said to Lucas, how about some kind of vehicle plodding through the swamp next? A Race for Terra community veteran, this is James's fourth Spotlight entry to date. All the previous ones had been part of his Death Guard army, but this is the first one with a recent Forge World model. And what a model it is! This Greater Blight drone? This Greater Blight drone is without a doubt one of my favorite sculpts. Look at all the texture on the pitted and corroded armor panels. I'm sure you will agree with me that James has truly done this model justice. Sure, the effect on those red lenses is eye-catching, but that is not the part that impresses me. Check out the different degrees of corrosion that he has applied to the metals, the chipping effects on the armor, or the colors that he's used on the fleshy parts. All excellent work in my opinion. When I asked him what lessons he'd learned from this project, James had quite a long list, but there are two that particularly resonated with me. The first one is, never use cotton buds to remove an oil wash. Well, I had recently learned that same one myself. Makeup sponges are the way to go, guys. The second one, on a more serious note, is that post-shading, if applied judiciously, can make a big difference. Totally agree there. James, I really think this may be your best work to date. Really, really amazing. But how about something even more disgusting next time? I'd like to see some more liquids, perhaps? So guys, I hope that you've enjoyed tonight's Spotlight. I think this is one of the best episodes to date. And it was a pretty cool coincidence that we happen to have two Nurgle and two Star Wars models in the same video. As always, I would like to thank all of my Patreon supporters. You guys not only help me keep the lights on, but as you can see, you help me make of our Discord server a place where we can all learn from each other. Thank you all, and remember, keep it up and weather it out.